But isn't it a great honor to do with two films, even though they are out of competition?
I'm very happy that they're out of competition because it removes that anxiety and that pressure of, winning or losing and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really understand. But it seems that Cannes, to me, even 3 years ago when I was here with No Country, it was more of a celebration of the filmmakers, People say, well, what do you think of the decadence and the excess of Cannes and all that? It's like, it's going to a good cause, It's going to celebrating these amazing filmmakers, and that's not a bad thing to me, It's better than going to war.
You should be used of winning and losing,
Yeah, that's different. It's very different than me, I hope, the characters are about that, and that's fun to look, I'm a competitive guy, I am, for sure, and in many different ways, but, not in the ways that these guys are. I don't feel bad when I don't feel good when somebody else does badly. You know what I mean? I was talking about this in the other room about, somebody says, when you lose a part, or maybe you turn down a part and somebody else does it and they're great, I'm so happy. So happy that there's a community of people who are good, and maybe I would have been bad in that part. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would have been miscast, or maybe I had an understanding that I shouldn't be in that movie, or maybe it's a genre I don't care for very much right now. I love watching good performances. I love it. Benicio came up to me last night, and I've known him for a long time, and we're neighbors, and for a long time we acted together when we were 19, and. I think he's an incredible actor. He's amazing. And he came up to me and he said, I won't tell you what it is because it's personal, but it was one of the nicest compliments I've ever gotten from anybody. I don't care, an actor, from anybody, from a filmmaker, from the press, anything. And I love that. It's a community of wonderful people that aren't sitting there being jealous or envious or that kind of thing.
You have two films here and two very different roles. Is there one that you say that's more close to what you are? Or
you ask all the personal questions.
Yeah, the interesting ones.
That's how I feel about that, yeah. That's closer to who I am. There are aspects of both characters that obviously I possess in some way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to play the character as accurately as I want to. So yes, there is a competitive part of me that can identify with the Wall Street part of Brett and James. There is a lazy or victimized part of me that can identify somewhat with Woody's movie and that character. How much? I don't know. And then you just kind of take it from there and you try and puff it up, You just expand it in some way, But, here's the more real thing, is that am I developing a complex because people want me for these parts? Maybe. At this point, okay. I think I dealt with this type of part. I like the variations on it. I like the similarities of it. Even with Dan White, is a very pathetic character to me, but a very human guy. W is a very human guy. I was interested in finding the humanity in that part. That's for me. But, we're going to mix it up now. Again, that's all I want to keep doing is mixing it up. We'll do Men in Black 3. I'll go do Ethan Cohen's plays in New York. I'll get on stage and do these 4 one-acts for Ethan that I'm very happy about. I do a short for the Coen brothers next year. I'm going to direct next year, so that, just keep. And then I'll sleep when I die, and then I'll
What kind of short is it?
The Coens worked out. I think I can talk about it. I think HBO 6 shorts. And they went in there, I know this, it's not a long story, but they went in there and they were like, they came in and had a meeting with HBO and they said, we want to do 6 shorts. We wrote 6 shorts. And they were like, okay, great, we'll put them all together. We'll give you guys a budget and you go out and do them and we'll put them all together. And they were like, no, we want to just kind of do them randomly. And then you just put them on air randomly. And they were like, okay, but we got to put them all together and market it this way and this way. And they're like, no, it doesn't. And then they started to leave and then HBO was like, wait. So they're going to do it randomly. They'll do one next, like we were supposed to do it last year, and it didn't work out. Nobody had time.
Right.
So maybe we'll do it next year. Maybe we'll do it then. The short is brilliant, the one that I'm going to do. Turo's going to do one, I think. Tim Blake Nelson is going to do one, who I'm going to do the plays with. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
You did already a very beautiful short with them a couple of years ago.
I love that short.
Yeah, it disappeared. It was not on the DVD.
I know, and I don't understand why. I asked them, I said, was that your choice? And why would you do that? It's like the only pretentious thing I ever heard, but it wasn't their choice. It had something to do with the rights of it, something or this. So that's why it didn't end up. I think it was the Coens and then one other short that didn't end up on the DVD.
Right.
I don't know why though.
No.
I loved those shorts. I didn't love all of them. I love Polanski's shorts.
Yes.
Oh my God. The guy in the back, and the couple in the front, they were like, why is this guy looking at this romantic movie? They think he's masturbating or something. And then they went and got the manager, and the manager comes up and finds the ticket and figured that he had fallen from the balcony. He was in pain. Love that short. Brilliant.
What about the directing project that you mentioned? You will direct?
Yeah, there's a thing that I wrote that we're looking for a writer right now to rewrite. I think I did as well as I could do, I don't know, with that. I think it's a great story. It's a smaller story, about a guy with traumatic brainstem injury and his sister that's taking care of him. It's based on a play that I did many years ago. And I think it's a great story. And there's a studio, a guy who I'm very close with, at Warner Brothers, who said I would love to be involved in your debut. I want to be the guy to do it. So I'm extremely grateful, extremely.
And you will be in it as well?
So you know how much painful it is to write?
It is painful. It's extremely painful. I love it. I always perceived myself and wanted to be a writer first and foremost. So I wrote since I was very young. I remember my mom used to grab these poems when I was 9, 10, 11, these circular poems that I wrote. And they were very like Woody Allen-esque, death and all this kind of pessimism. And she didn't understand them, and she didn't understand what was going on. She was a little concerned. But I love writing. I think it's very difficult, Right now, I think I'm very good with dialogue. I think I'm still figuring out structure and where my niche is within that. But, it's like photography, it's like anything else. It's nothing you can ever master. So you just keep, you guys know this better than anybody. You just keep going. You keep looking for your voice and finding your voice. And so I think I've found my voice more now in writing, and because I've been involved with these filmmakers who I sit down with and we construct things. It's not just me showing up on the set and saying the words and leaving. I'm very involved with these filmmakers, even with Woody. I had great volleys. You guys know what volleying is? Like with tennis, back and forth. Volleying with Woody, before the movie, during the movie, after the movie. He told me that there was one point where I did the narration, and he said that and I was glad that he did something else, because it didn't make any sense coming from one of the characters in the thing. It was a very smart move. And I wrote him recently, and he wrote me back, and he says, we put your narration back in, but we cut you out of the movie entirely. The movie's much shorter now, but I think it saved it.
And he says you ask many questions.
He's very annoyed by me.
Because he's known for not giving too much direction to it.
I guess. Not with me. It's not that he gave me a lot of direction. I forced him to give me direction. You have a director there for a reason. If he's just going to sit back and do nothing, then, give me your check, man. You're not earning your money.